Hey everyone, welcome back to Mix 3D Design. In today's video, we're diving into a super cozy ghibli inspired scene where I'll be modeling a bread toaster in the classic anime style that we all love. If you enjoy this type of content and want to see more projects like these, don't forget to support the channel. Your support helps me create more tutorials, breakdowns, and even bigger projects that I have planned. You can also join me on Patreon. You can use PayPal, totally you can do that, or Blender Market or Gumroad or anything. And yeah, let's dive into it. This is the project file that you can see here. Okay, this is 3D viewport. So let's go to the solid view or even the rendered view, as you can see. And I'm going to leave this rigged hand in the description so you can download it and start with me. Okay, so yeah, that's all you need. And we are going to make that stuff, all of these stuff in the scene. First, let's go to a fresh Blender scene. I have this reference image to got this one too, so just download the starter file from the description so you can start with me. So I'm going to press Shift and add mesh and then cube. Tap to go to edit mode, GZ, and hold Control to move it to the grid. And I'm going to press S and then Y and hold Control and make it as thick as you want. For example, I want it to be this thick here. I'm going to select the top face, GZ, and I can hold Shift, for example, like this. Press N to see the dimensions if they are good. Okay, Y-axis, good. Okay, good. That looks good. Okay, I'm going to go to edit mode, Control R to add loop cut, Control B to bevel that, give it a small bevel. Okay. I'm going to go to edit mode, select everything RZ 90 degrees and rotate it like so I can have my front view as this one. Okay, so okay, and I'm going to select these faces, so just select the face selection mode and hold Alt and just click here, and that will select all of these faces together. Okay, and you can press P and separate that by selection, so it's its own face or its own object. Now select this object right now, tap to go to edit mode, and then select everything, SY, and hold Shift, and make it kind of wide. Now select the top face, GZ, and move it up a little bit. That looks interesting. Okay. And now let's select all of these shapes, tap to go to edit mode, and then select all of these edges. Okay. And hold Shift. Now let's go to the right view. And before that, let's give this one face here. Select all of these, F to fill. Okay. And now let's select that. Now let's select everything. Sorry. And we can bevel. Nope. We need to select these again. It's annoying. Yeah. Now go to the right view. Control B to bevel that and add more segments with your scroll mouse wheel. Okay, that looks good. Right click, object context menu, and shade smooth. Now tap to go to edit mode, select these edges, hold Alt and Shift, and click. Now select this edge here, can hold Control to do that. Okay, and I'm going to press Control B to bevel and lower down the amounts of edges in here and do a small bevel. Yep. Now let's select these edges here. Select these edges, right click, edge menu, and mark sharp. And let's do the same thing here, even though I'm going to add procedural modifier, edge menu, mark sharp. That looks good. I'm going to add a modifier for that, and I'm going to search for bevel. It's so big, so let's decrease the amount and increase the segments. Okay, it looks good to me. For example, I can just select that, clear its sharpness. It looks good. Yep, that looks good. So anyways, let's leave as is. And I'm going to go to edit mode, Control R to add loop cut, and now Control B to bevel this loop cut with only one segment and leave some space, for example, like so. Now let's select these, Control B to bevel, and add some holes for these bread stuff. Okay, so it can from that. Okay, and so face selection mode is enabled now. Now let's select these faces. Press I to inset, E to extrude. I to inset, E to extrude. Okay, extrude it really down so our bread will stay there. And for the bevel, I see some problems here. Okay, and I'm going to go to geometry, emitter outer. I'm going to switch it to arc. That will looks good, pretty much good. Now let's go here, and I want this thing, so I can put a switch here. Control Alt add loop cut. Control B to bevel this loop cut and make it so small so no one will notice that. And I can select these. Oh, before that, Control Alt add loop cut, so to here, for example. And I can select these faces, and I can press I to inset, E to extrude, and that will looks good. Pretty good. Okay, it looks good. Yeah, for me it looks amazing. Okay, what we need this switch. Easy. Shift and A, add mesh cube. Okay, let's move it to the grid. So tap to go to edit mode, GZ, hold control and move it up. Okay, and I'm going to add a loop cut, Control Alt add loop cut, Control Alt add loop cuts. Now let's select these faces, X and delete faces, and now let's let's fill these faces. F to fill. Now let's select that, F to fill. A to select everything, M and merge by distance. Okay, let's go to right view now, and I can select the vertices, these vertices, GZ. I can press GY, GZ like so, and I can select everything, Control B to bevel that, and add some bevels. Okay, that looks good, so smooth. Object context menu, shade smooth, and that looks pretty interesting. Now let's add a loop cut here, Control B to bevel that with only one segment, for example, and let's add a loop cut in here. I can select these faces and I can extrude it backward like so. Let's select these. Okay, let's press Ctrl plus, right click, edge menu, mark sharp. Okay, that will leave us with shading. Press slash again so we can go from the isolation mode. Scale that down, scale it down, hold shift and right click. Okay, we can't do that because I have the cursor added into here. Shift S selection to the cursor. I can press G, Y, and here, and go to the front view and try to match this one with the view. Scale it down, for example, like so. That looks interesting. Make sure this one is okay. Let's select the vertices here. Shift Z so you can toggle wireframe view. G, Y, and with back there. And that looks interesting. Okay, so we can move it up and down. Okay, looks good. Interesting. Now the modeling is kind of done. We need just these breads here. So we are going to do that by just duplicating some of these. Okay, let's select these, Shift D, GZ, and then P separate by selection. Let's select these now. A to select everything, GZ. Now let's press E to extrude, Z to lock it to the Z axis. We can press slash so we can isolate that too if you want. Let's remove this bevel for now. We don't need it. I'm going to fill these faces. So I have to fill, and I'm going to select these edges in here. Shift Z, select these edges. Control B to bevel that. Okay, let's give it some segments in here. And I'm going to select these faces. I to inset, set it a little bit, and then Alt A, extrude faces along normals and extrude them inward a little bit. Okay, so we'll have that. And we can add, okay, sorry, you need to enable the cavity in here. So if you don't have that, so you can see better. Okay, and you values so you can see better. Right click, object context menu, shade smooth. Okay, and now let's add some bevels. Okay, let's do bevel with the bevel modifier. That miss a lot of these, so shift and to recalculate the normals. And let's play with, okay, the scale in here. Increase the count for the segments. Let's do 2 segments. Okay, that looks good. Okay, even though the bevel is too much. Okay, let's redo that. Okay, it's too much. It's too much of a bevel. So Control B that. Okay, like so. That looks good. Now let's select all of these faces. I to inset, Alt A, extrude faces along normals. Right click and now shade smooth and the bevel. Select everything, Shift N, and let's increase to segment. Okay, like so. That looks good actually. So you can move it up and down. You know. That looks good. That looks pretty much good. I'm going to select that face and shift select that face. Okay, select them both. Shift D, GZ, P separate by selection. Now let's go to object mode. Now select that and go to edit mode for that object. Vertex select mode is enabled. Okay, select these vertices and then F to fill. Select that, F to fill. And now let's select these edges, F to fill. Let's select all of these faces in here. I to inset, and voila, that looks good. Okay, A to select everything, E to extrude and extrude it down. A to select everything, Shift N to recalculate the normals. And we have a problem here. Why is that? Let's make sure we have base orientations correctly. Right click, okay, in object mode, right click, and let's shade smooth by angle. In edit mode, select everything, S to scan, scale it up, GZ and move it up. Just to fill this area, scale it again one more time. It looks pretty much good. Just leave it as it is. In my model, I just added something in here, for example, a button. Okay, I'm going to show you how to do that. You can totally do that if you want. You can press, okay, before that, let's add one more and one more here. Sorry, selection mode. Select this vertex, Control, Shift and B, and add some segments, for example, like this. Right click and edge menu. And where is that? I forgot what is it. Loop tools. I need loop tools, okay? It's under the edge menu bar. What is it? Loop tools. Where is the loop tools? Okay. Maybe I need to select the faces. Sorry. Loop tools. Okay. Maybe I haven't loop tools. It's enabled. Don't tell me because it's this add-on. Okay, let's disable this add-on. Okay, let's disable that. I'll right click loop tools and circle. As to scale that, I to insert that, scale it, and shift Y so you can exclude the Y axis from the scaling. Now E to extrude it, and you have a button like you can totally remove it, X and delete faces, and select these edges, F to fill, and then I to insert. You can insert that like that, and you have a button. Okay, you have a button for you. That looks good. Anyways, let's add the loop cut here. Okay, Control B to bevel this loop cut with one segment. Press E to extrude and extrude it back. So we have, you know, kind of like a button, so you can press it or and twist it or whatever. Okay, and Shift C so you can bring back the cursor to the world origin. And now we can get to the shading. Okay, I'm going to pull the down a little bit. Okay, let's add a camera. So Shift A, let's add camera. And for example, let's select this angle in here, zoom out, Control Alt and 0, and let's add 170 millimeter, and then G and then hold the middle mouse button and you can zoom in like so. Okay, even though less of these things. That looks good. Okay, GZ, can lock that. Okay, like so. That looks good. This is the location, rotation stuff if you want to copy it. Okay, for the camera. Okay, and now I'm going to move this up and I'm going to switch it to shader editor, and let's switch that to material preview. Make sure you are in EV, enable ambient occlusion, and then bloom, screen space reflections and refractions because we need them, and shadows, disable the shadows, we don't need. Color management, make sure it sets to standard, so we have the colors for the anime style stuff. Okay, I'm going to start with this metal material. Okay, I'm going to delete the principal PSDF, and I'm going to add spectral PSDF, and I'm going to add color ramp. So let's add a color ramp. Let's connect that into here, and I need it to shader to RGB, and I need a diffuse color shader to RGB. Connect that to here, and I'm going to use this color for the base color. This is the hex value for that, 919191. And for the B color, I'm going to use this color in here, B1 roughness 0.6. Okay, I'm going to give you the exact values for that, and I need a max shader, so let's look for the max shader right now. Max, we have just max here, the color. Shaders, where is the max shader? This is it. And let's connect this one here and connect this one in, and connect the shader to the surface. For the diffuse color, I'm going to use this color in here, which is 91919191, the same color. And I'm going to add a color ramp because I forgot. This color ramp, I'm going to make it constant, and I need 2 more sliders. For the first slider, I'm going to use this color in here, which is the hex value of FFEEE 4. The second one will be this color, which is the X value of DDCFC4. And the position will be 0.173. And this one, finally, I'm going to remove one of these. Okay, we don't need it. Let's use this one instead. And it's going to be this color, FFEBDB. Okay, and let's use one 0.250, for example. Let's use this. The diffuse, I'm going to use some colors in here too. We need a dark gray color with the hex value of 2F3032. And I'm going to add new slider in here. I'm going to pull it back so I can just get some highlights and coloring here. I'm going to add to it this color in here, just slightly going towards the blue. AAADB5, which is the hex value. Make it super close by like so. This one is going to be this color. This is the hex value CCC2BC. And I'm going to pull it back. As you can see, there is something going on. Okay, let's continue. And to make this one shiny, because right now it isn't shiny, and I'm going to add a new mix shader, and I'm going to add glossy PSTF. Okay, connect that to the mix shader, and I'm going to lower down the roughness to 1.4, for example. Okay, it's shiny, looks good. And I'm going to add new mix shader, and I'm going to look for the Fresnel node, which is under these stuff, but I have no idea where. Frame this. Yep, it's under the input. I'm going to use a lower value with 0.8, for example. Add a color ramp, and for the brighter color, I'm going to use kind of yellowish color, which is this one. This is the X value, FFF3E7, and then I'm going to use this. You can totally plug the color data into the shader data. Everything is working in Blender. And right now I'm keeping the shader or the mixed shaders at a value of a factor of 0.5. So all of these will be working both together. Okay, so let's organize our viewing a little bit. Okay, these now looks good. And I'm going to add one more mixed shader. And now I'm going to add a principal PSTF. Okay, I'm going to connect it. And I'm going to open all of these, specular, coat, and then sheen. This startup with the code value of 1, sheen value of 1. And I'm going to use metallic of 1, lower down the specular a little bit, play with the coat roughness a little bit. And then I'm going to lower down the mix factor to something super low, for example, like this. Okay, just eyeball that, you know. Yeah, 0.7, that looks good. Yep. Now you can just close the stuff. Okay, we still need some roughness, so roughness of that looks good, pretty much really good. Okay, I'm going to add new mix shader factor of 0.5, and I'm going to add a gradient texture. Oh, sorry, Blender crashes. Oh, we need to save, so Ctrl S to save, Ctrl T to add texture coordinates and mappings. Okay, and now let's see, Ctrl Shift and left click on the gradient, and now let's rotate it on the y-axis by 90, and that looks good to me. I'm going to add for a color ramp. I'm going to click here and flip the colors. The brighter one, I'm going to use this color with the X value of E4C7AD. And for the black color, I'm going to use a gray color. And for the dark color, I've used this color here, the hex value of 6C6461. Okay, and leave it as it is, and just plug it into the shader here, and just plug it to the surface. Okay, that looks good. You can lower down the factor if you want. Just 0.1 looks good. Actually, we're dealing with that, so it looks good. Interesting. And finally, we are going to add an ambient occlusion node, just to add some ambient occlusion to stuff here. Color ramp, and I'm going to use the brighter color as this color here with the hex value of 4B4436. And this one, I'm going to use it manually. So let's drag color in here, just drag them together, kind of like so, and use it. Let's add new mix shader, and that looks good. Okay, just lower down the factor. And now let's copy all of these, this material to all of these stuff here. Select these, and finally select the one that has the material Control L and link materials. Okay, that looks good right now. And still we need to modify these stuff, okay, for our needs. For example, the Fresnel node, okay, like this. And that looks interesting right now, especially with the chin. Okay, you can play with this one here. You can, instead of this mix shader, you can add mix color and use this one as multiply. Okay, wait for the shader to compile. Okay, it's done. And you can totally do that, even though it's not noticeable, but I can see it, kinda. Okay, that looks good, looks sharp. Just add it and watch, looks good. Okay, there is totally an ME occlusion going on here. Yep. Anyways, this one will have still shading, so just add it. Okay, let's call it still shading. This one metal. Okay, oh my god, let's delete the principal. PSDF, diffuse color, shader to RGB node, and a color ramp. Connect all of these together, and let's make this one constant. And let's use this color in here. Let's flip these. Let's leave as is, okay. Make this one really dark towards this color in here. Or we can use this color that I have. That looks good. For example, so looks good. Looks good. Okay, nice, pretty nice. This one we can use the color in here. Oh, that affects the whole stuff. Okay, looks good. It looks good. That looks good. We will see that later. Now let's move on to the bread. We will have outside bread and inside bread material. Okay, let's use bread material outside. Let's use outside, and now go to edit mode, select all of these faces in the inside, but the face selection mode is enabled. And let's create a new thing, new material, assign it, click new, create bread inside. Now let's material preview, and yep, let's start with the inside. I'm going to use Q and add diffuse shader to RGB color ramp. Okay, or we don't need the color ramp. I'm going to use mix shader, noise texture, and I'm going to connect that into here. And let's use it as a mix. Okay, let's use it as a mix. Okay, let's I drop some colors. Okay, for example, let's add the color ramp in here. Let's add this color and the same color, but this one is going to be darker. So we have some darker spots and brighter spots. Okay, saturated. Okay, now let's go to the outside and we are going to make the magic. Okay, first let's use the diffuse shades of RGB color ramp. Okay, connect that into here, connect that into here, and then I'm going to use a gradient texture. Let's use the quadratic sphere. Control T to add mapping texture coordinate. Let's view that right. It looks good. And I'm going to separate these. So select everything and then P, separate by loose parts. Okay, so we have these separated. I'm going to play with the location, Z location, Z scaling, sample. Play with this one, play with the Y location as well. Let's add a color ramp in here and make the selection like so. Okay, you can actually do that and play with the location, etc., etc. And we are going to add a wave texture. So let's add wave texture. Where is it? Wave texture. Yep, this is it. Control T to add texture coordinates and stuff. Now let's use that. I'm going to use Y bands, use the object coordinate, and I can play with scaling for just this. Let's rotate them by 90 degrees. Let's use a color ramp. Okay, let's use, for example, Z. See, okay, that Z looks good. Okay, let's flip these color ramps. And okay, we are going to flip these color ramps, and we're going just to play with this one here. We are going to mainly focus on this one. We can scale it, give it some distortion, some details, attention to details, and we can, for example, squeeze it, decrease this distortion a little bit. So you can have this effect, for example, like so. And we are going to multiply that with this one in here. Oh, sorry. Let's add black slider in here. Oh, sorry, that if that was working. Anyways, let's add a mix shader, mix color or mix RGB node, and I'm going to multiply these together. Okay, let's use multiply function, factor of 1, and let's use mix color. Should do that. Let's first see that if it's working good. Yeah, that is working. I'm just going to play with location in here. Can scale these things kind of. Okay, that looks good. That looks pretty much good. Yeah, it looks good. Yeah, and I'm going to add it to this one. So I'm going to use this as an add. Okay, and now let's see. For the colors, for the brighter color, I'm going to use this color. Control V. For the color ramp, I'm going to use this color. Okay, this is the hex value EA8535, and the same color, but it is going to be slightly darker. Okay, and we can play with it. Can use it as a constant. Yep, so like this. For the add, I'm going to decrease it a little bit. That will looks like this. Okay, and we can scale that. Sorry, where's the distortion? Maybe. Yep, we can distort it a little, and we can play with the color ramp so we can get cooler stuff. Play with the mask. Okay, that looks good. That looks pretty much good. Yeah, the button, you can give it any color, but I don't know, so I'm just going to leave it as it is. I don't care about it. Let's save our progress right now. Let's see if that looks good. That looks pretty much good. Pretty good. Okay, now let's give it a room, so it's going to sit in there. So Shift A and add the mesh cube, GZ and hold Control, S and scale it. Make sure to press S and Shift Z with the Z axis, and now select the Z axis, GZ, and move it up. Now select these front faces, X and delete faces. You can select that too and delete it. Select everything. S Shift Z. Now let's select that. Z, and yep. See as this, like that. Now let's give it a material. Let's give it material, call it ground. Okay. And I'm going to delete that. I'm going to add a diffuse, shade RGB, and connect that to here. And I'm going to add a noise texture and then a color ramp for that noise texture. So it's going to give us some colors. Okay. And connect that to the color input. Shift D to duplicate that. Merge these together. Let's add some colors. For example, let's add this color. Let's add new slider. Add the same color, but it's going to be slightly saturated. Let's add same color. It's going to be slightly brighter. You can play with these colors so you can get something like this. You can play with the scale. You can scale it down. Okay, get these to be bigger, you know. Yeah, like this. Control T to add texture coordinate and mappings. I'm going to use the object coordinate, so I'm going to get rid of some stretching. Okay, okay, I get rid of stretching. Control A, apply all the transforms, and now let's see. Okay, let's play just with the scale right now, and that is pretty much good. And here I'm going to use the same color. Okay, just to add some vibes. There's overkill in here. Okay, like this. Okay, I know it's weird, but I'm going to add gradient texture. Control T to add texture coordinate stuff. Use the object coordinate. Add a color ramp for that. Let's view that. Let's rotate it 90 degrees. Okay. Let's use B-spline. For the brighter color, I'm going to use this one. And for the darker one, I'm going. And for example, maybe let's just literally play with this on like this, and that looks good. And I'm going to use the mix color node. Connect the color to the color A, and this one to the color B. Let's see the result. I'm going to use lighten. Okay, let's add new mix shader, and I'm going to add the glossy PSDF. Okay, and make it glossy a little bit, maybe 0. And I'm going to add the Fresnel node. So let's Shift D that, add a Fresnel node. Sorry, Fresnel node. Select these and pull them back. And I'm going to use a mix color node. Let's set that to lighten as well. Color ramp, put that in here. Connect the color from the color ramp to the color A, then this one to the shader. Now let's lower down the IOR, example like so. Decrease the factor, decrease the mix shader factor. Okay, it's not affecting too much, but it is working. Okay, that looks good actually. I'm going to copy this one, Shift D, and I'm going to Shift D that and connect that in here. And just remove the rotation, okay, which is going to be 0. And now I'm going to rotate that, sorry, Z axis, let's do 90. Dollar icon Y. And let's scale it, for example, along the Y axis. Okay, now let's move, just play with the factor 2 in here. Okay, that looks good, really good. Now let's go to the camera view. Let's go to the rendered viewport. Now we can see nothing. Okay, pretty much good. Now I need to add Shift A and add light, and I'm going to use the sunlight. Okay, and just rotate the sunlight on the y-axis, increase its strength. Okay, kind of, not too much. I like this, looks good. I'm going to disable the shadow for the light. Maybe a small sun strength will do the job done, like that. And I'm going to shift right click and add the cursor there. I'm going to add point light, GZ, and move it up. And yeah, let's use it as this power in here, GZ, make it slightly warm a little bit, and shift D that and move it in here. Remove for the shadows. Okay, let's add some volumetrics. Okay, first let's decrease the intensity of this. Is only one in here. Fine. Let's add some highlights in here and there. Okay, now let's add some other lights. So shift right click and add some lights. Let's use area lights, S and then X, and scale the X axis, sorry, GZ, and move it up. S, Y, and looks good. Disable the shadows, and Alt D and then X, and over here at intensity, but still we're getting there. Maybe slightly. This one GX and slide in here. It looks good. The shader of this one, let's use this color instead. This one, I'm going to use this color. Okay, I have changed these colors, so try to change them too, because that was interesting. Increase the factor a little bit, so have less of this effect but more of this one. Sorry, this factor, so you have less of this noisy. You can see those small bits. Let's move this one. Okay, I know it's bright, but you know, we can just use that instead for the bread inside. Can use that noise texture, you know, and add to it texture coordinate mappings. Use the object coordinate, make it something like so, you know. It looks good, yeah, it looks good. Only with this one. Let's add more lights. So yeah, I'm going to select this light, Shift D, RZ, 90 degrees, GY, then SX, GX, and you know, like this. GY, decrease its strength, then GX, and to the side in here, SY, and scale it along the y-axis. Okay, increase its brightness a little bit. The others, it looks good. And I'm going to select these both, Shift D, R, and then X, 90 degrees, GY, and move them back. And yep, this one I'm going to move the X axis, and let's see, SX, X, that too also, SX, BX, SX, looks interesting. Select them both, right click and increase their intensity a little bit, SZ, and scale them along the Z axis and move them down. These ones, SY, GY, yeah, these two, I'm going to move them up. Just play with the placement of these things so you can get these highlights. We're good to go. I need just to add some blooming. Shift N, add cube, mesh cube, scale it up, give it a new material, and I'm going to use volume. So let's search for the volume. It is the volume scatter. Okay, and let's plug it into the volume socket. And we need it to be super tiny. For example, just one in here. And let's go to the object parameters. I'm going to go to the display and display as pounds, so I can select stuff, and also at the same time I can see it. Okay, I can decrease or increase the volume. So yep, and the volume, maybe we can use this color in here. Maybe let's use it as 1, density of 1, and play with the anisotropic a little bit, so we will have this effect kind of. Okay, this is the color, just yellow dark stuff. 13 10 OC, okay, 0C, and yep, we are going to go to the compositing and add some compositing so we can match this stuff here. So first I'm going first we are going to add some point lights. So let's add some point lights. Okay, decrease their strength and just move them accordingly. So I'll do that, and BX for example, is that for example like so. Add more and more of these stuff. Okay, this one, or we can just delete that. Okay. Anyways, here in the compositing, make sure to use nodes and enable it in the camera. As usual, we are going to use the glare node, Kohara node, and color balance node. Okay. The Kohara is going to be 1, and I'm going to use it as anisotropic, sharpness of sharpness of 1, this thing that I can pronounce to some value. This one is going to be stars, okay, streaks or stars or whatever, okay, or we can use stars instead, simple stars, okay, and you can just play with these, for example, the fade, which is going to be like intensity, and we have the threshold, and we have the iterations, and we have the mix. So just mix it a little bit, and yeah, let's add some, maybe some blues, shadow areas, some warm tones, warm it up, guys, make it warm. Okay, let's select the camera, go to the camera properties, view display, pass per 2 to 1. This one is affecting whatever is affecting. This one was affecting, so effect, let's use contact shadows. Okay, just leave as it is in here. Okay, that looks good. I don't need it to be exact, you know. You can play with a number of iterations. It's like the quality, you know. So you can make them small, big, more detailed, high detail. And you have the quality, the overall quality, high, medium, low, etc. Maybe let's add more painterly look. Tree is going to be good. And play with the sharpness, so you can get rid of some black stuff, some black holes, you know. It looks good. It looks pretty good, actually. Let's make it dark. Let's go back to the material, get dark a little bit, like so. Okay, that looks good, actually. Yep. Now we need our rigged hand, so let's do that. I'm going to copy it from the scene here with the rig, the thing, Control C, and copy objects. Now Control V, paste objects. To be laggy a little bit, so don't worry about that. Go top view, R to rotate, G, Y, scale it down a little bit, Y, G, X, and then R, X, G, Y, G, Z, and make sure it is like this. Yep. Let's go to the render viewport and make sure it is like so. And now I need to parent these stuff, all of these stuff, you know, the bread and this one to the bone. So lastly, select the bone, Control B, and object keep transform. Okay, so now when I move the bone, these should move with the bone. So I can just give the bone some animation. So let's do that. Let's go to timeline. It's already animated, so I'm going to remove these and these old, for example. Okay, let's remove this animation or these keyframes. So select all, delete keyframes, and now we are going to animate it again from the start. Okay, so go to the camera view. I'm going first, it's going to be in here. Select rig GZ. It's going to be here. Press I or press K, sorry, and add location. Okay, where is the location? Now go some frames, for example, this frame number 20, GZ, and it's going to, okay, press K, location. Okay, so that is going to be, boop. And lastly, these ones I'm going to animate them by hand. So select them both, K to add location, and go back in here, for example, frame 60K to add location. Now let's go back to this frame, GZ, and like so, and then K, location. So now, like so, boop, yep. And I'm going to end that at frame 81. Okay, sorry, end at 81. Yep, start like this, and it's end like that. Okay, it looks really good, actually. Okay, and for the animation, I'm going to select the rig, select these keyframes, and I'm going to go to the graph editor, and I'm going to open this one, disable the X and Y location, select the Z location, and click on the normalize. Okay, I want it to start, you know, fast, to start fast. So I'm going to select this handle, click on it, and just drag it like so, like this. Just drag it, pull it into here. Now let's play. Yep, like this. And now let's select the bread, these breads together, and let's open up these settings, and I'm going to disable the X. Now let's select the Z locations for each one. Okay, for example, I'm going to start with this one, and it's going to be okay. Sorry, let's go to the timeline. Let's increase the end to 90, for example. Oh, let's go back to the hand rig. Okay, let's select the hand rig. I'm going to move these keyframes a little bit, offset them a little bit. So I'm going to leave some space for the hand. Okay, let's select the bread, and let's select the keyframes. Let's go back to the graph editor. Now select the Z, deselect that, hold Control, deselect that. I want this one to be fast, kind of. Maybe this one I'm going to clear. I'm going to delete these keyframes, or sorry, now let's go to the, let's remove its keyframes, delete keeps. I'm going to go back for this one. I'm going to delete this one. I'm going to leave only with the C. Okay, that's actually looking good. I want it to go up and down, you know, when it's end. Go up more and down and up. Okay, I have no idea how to explain that, but I'm going to show you. I want it to go like this, you know. It's going to pass the Z-axis a little bit. I want it to pass the Z-axis a little bit. So let's do that. Let's see now. Yep, like this. Yeah, like this. Pass the Z-axis a little bit and go back. And I want it to be smooth a little bit. Yeah, smooth. The curve to be so smooth. Yep, like this. It's actually pretty good. You can spend a lot of time playing with these things here. Let's Control C that, and in here let's add I to location. Sorry, okay, add location, and now into the Z location I'm going to press Control V. Okay, that looks good. Okay, let's move that to here. Okay, that looks good. Just copy paste. That was so easy. Okay. Oh, there is some slight delay. Oh, that is amazing. It's amazing. I have no idea how it's done. Oh, that was in here and that was in here. Okay, that's good. That is actually good. Let's just disable these channels. This one, also these channels I don't. Okay. Okay, that slight delay is actually good. Yep, we're done with that anyway. Yep, we're really done with that. Oh, it's good. That's really good. Okay, that's really, really, really good. Even though here the model is so smooth than this one just was a prototype, and this one was the thing that is look. Okay, let's go back to the compositor, and we can add some warm this one. And yep, see a little bit. Now for the outlines, we are going to use new collection, and let's call it outlines. And we are going to add Shift A, grease pencil, and I'm going to add object line art. For example, for this one, let's use this cube as example. You know, you can play with the line thickness here. Okay, and let's go to the material and play with the material. It's totally up to you. So you can play with outline. Shift D that, and you can just play with the objects. So remove that, add it to other one. Shift D that. Remove that, add it to other ones. Shift D that, move it, add it to other ones. You can go back to frame 1, D, add it to this one too, D, add it to the hand too, if you have a hand. And you can pretty much add it to anything that you like. That will work perfectly with your scene. And if you have some weird stuff, okay, you can play with the, where is the edge type? You can play with the contour and you can just silhouette, you know. For me, I'm going to use the contour. It's going to work for you as well. We have some cool outlines for us. And this one was not an outline for from the line art. It was the was the freestyle. It was the freestyle here. Just enable that and use the line thickness 0.6. So I'm going to show you with and without the freestyle. So this one is going to be with the freestyle, as you can see, even though it doesn't catch that one. But ooh, good. That is really good. That is really good. Yeah, that is really good. Yep, this is with the freestyle, and this one with the outlines. The freestyle is kind of faster than the outlines. The outlines needs to calculate. What? Sorry, disable the F12. Ooh, these outlines looks good. You know, you need to play with the lights a little bit. The lights kind of weird stuff. So I'm going to select, move them just slightly down. Okay, like so. Okay, that looks good now. Let's render that out now. See? Okay, that fixes all of these weird stuff. Okay. The outline needs some work with coloring. So the hand should have some color, outline color. This one, another outline color. But you get the idea, so you can work with it yourself, guys. So you can develop it and yep. So anyways, yeah, it looks good. It was easy, nothing too complex, you know. You need just to play with the materials and stuff, so you will have the same thing. Okay. See the animation. Okay, the animation we need to turn up because they cost some powering. Okay, let's see now the animation. Boom, and it will appear. Oh my god, so easy, so smooth. I need just to play with the shader a little bit. Problems in the bread outside the gradient. Okay, like so. That's good. Now it's fixed. Now it's fixed. Now it's fixed. And we can have freestyle and render that out and call it a day. Okay. Let's go back to the frame one. Let's go back to frame one. Where was the hand? And F12. Yep, that is actually looking good. So anyways, that was our tutorial. If you like it, guys, please like and comment and share this video with your friends. You can comment your thoughts if you like it. It's totally up to you, man. Yeah, I'm going to save that and I'm going to leave the project file with the arm rig. As always, salam, khayr, khitan. See you soon with another video.